Hi, love. Welcome to Rambles, Rants, Reviews, episode Pride. So, I thought for Pride Month, I would talk a little bit about my journey to know who I am. I'm not someone who always knew who they were. I did not know that I was not a boy growing up. I just knew that I wasn't normal. And I was told often to be more masculine in ways that I'd rather not repeat. um, I did not know that I had an interest in more than just girls. I just knew that I liked people who were interested in me. Um, I didn't know that I could be in love with more than one person at a time. Didn't stop me from doing it. um, Two things right off the bat. I'm still figuring it out. So I don't know things. I came to the LGBTQ plus community more recently than I should have. And my memory is crap. So those are the two things. My memory of things that didn't happen today. Sometimes, I can get by with some things like this week. But like anything older than that, it's best described as a crime scene. And I go into the room where the crime scene happened with a forensic kit, and I make hyperbolic, educated guesses on what the hell happened in that memory. So I was thinking about it, and I don't really know how to explain how I didn't get it without kind of talking about me just not getting it. So I'm going to go through my crush life, if you will. You are welcome. So, my first crush was gorgeous and very androgynous. We were 12. Everyone was androgynous. But specifically, she had very long hair and she wore very bulky clothing. She loved to read and was very quiet, but also was very enthusiastic when talking about her interests, mostly books. And we talked maybe like twice at lunch, but I felt she was interested in me and she was my first crush. Probably because she once asked me what I was reading. But anyway, I crushed on her for probably all of seventh grade, maybe most of seventh grade. I think she moved like late seventh grade. So, like, at that point, I might have still been crushing, but it wasn't much I could do about it. Um, my second crush was my first girlfriend. She loved to read and write. She had long hair and was chubby. She was not quiet, and she was very enthusiastic about her interest. Um, she had dark, thick body hair, and she was picked on for all of those reasons. Um, One of the times she was being picked on, possibly I was being picked on too, I don't know. Um, I was told that she liked me, and I was asked if I liked her, and I very awkwardly said that I thought she was cute. I did later find out that she had not said that she liked me. So rude. And it was some kind of weird humiliation ritual. Apparently, like, they had pressured a lot of people asking the same question to, you know, have a lot of people say that they didn't like her. Anyway, I didn't catch any of that other than someone was talking to me and it was super awkward. Um, but anyway, at this point, I had the idea for liking me, and Cupid hit me hard. She did eventually ask me out right before the end of eighth grade, and we started dating. And by dating, I mean we were boyfriend and girlfriend, but we never went on a single date. Um, I did not have internet. I did not have a cell phone. There were people who had cell phones, but like they were still ginormous. And most of them were not kids. So, I did get the nerve to call her on the landline of all things once over the summer, and we talked for about 6 hours, and it was amazing. And when I say I talked, I listened. I didn't do a whole lot of talking. She did a lot of the talking. But anyway, somehow, I didn't call her a single other time during that summer. And when ninth grade came around, she broke up with me. I'm pretty sure, well, I was devastated, but I'm pretty sure she was super disappointed with me versus the romances she had been reading and the erotica she had been writing. Like, I wasn't up to puff, up to par. I wasn't up to, I wasn't doing it. Anyway, my third crush was my first sexual partner. She was a junior and I was a freshman, and she was a friend of my ex-girlfriend's friend. That is kind of par for most of the rest of this list. Um, she seemed to be the biggest girl in our school. I don't think she actually was, but I think she was the only bigger chica to flaunt it. Um, she enjoyed embarrassing me, and in that effort, flirted with me. Um, now playing Fat Bottom Girls by Queen. I think at this point, it's when I decided I have a type, and this is my type. And I went with that for the rest of my life, you know. Um, and then my fourth crush was my spouse. I now have the internet. So, and as another friend of my first girlfriend's friend, we were in a group chat. And I don't know if you've noticed, but I am super awkward. I'm more super awkward when I am in a situation that I can't control, and there's a whole lot of pressure and I don't know what I'm doing, and I don't know who, I don't know. I know who I'm supposed to be, but I have a whole lot of expectations of what you want me to do, and I don't know how to meet those or if I want to meet those. And a lot of this goes in my head all the time. And anyway, doesn't matter. Not the point. The point was that I thrived in group chat. I was able to talk and bullshit and be a part of the conversation that was not happening anywhere up until this point. Like, the closest to this was probably letters I wrote to my first girlfriend. Um, and yeah, that's still very stilted and um, awkward, and I don't know. Anyway, so I think this is the first one where I probably um, I kind of initiated the flirting. I think the power of Yahoo Messenger was amazing to me, and I let the power go to my head. I think it was the only time I initiated anything. She was dating someone else. She um, very confidently told me that, yeah, no, it was 100% one-sided at the beginning. Um, so there's that. Um, but I think a lot of it was kind of just being one kind of set up by uh, my girlfriend's friend, my ex-girlfriend's friend, um, and kind of getting the expectation that, yeah, that this is okay, this is what you should be doing, and then being able to do that and just really getting out of my shell kind of thing. Anyway, my fifth crush was the first person I talked with about kink and cross dressing. I have no idea how this happened. Um, they were also in the group chat at some point. So that's probably it. And I'm assuming they asked me a question, like, what are you doing? And I was like, hi, I'm reading erotica. It's trans erotica. I didn't say it was trans erotica, but it was. Um, but I mean, I described what was going on, and then they had some follow-up questions. They gave me the first rendition of this dress. My first dress. It was one of their homecoming dresses, and they didn't want it anymore. They also are the only person that I dated that became trans that I know of. So, I don't honestly know how they identify. I know they changed their name and they use they pronouns. So that's pretty cool. They did that before I knew what I was doing. Still kind of later in life. They are the only person that I've dated that has any kids. And they came out of their womb. So that's a thing. Anyway. Dun, 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 dun. So yeah, I think that was really the first time. And I definitely don't think either of us knew that we did not want to be cisgendered. I think we did both know that we weren't thriving as a boy or a girl. And, there was a connection there. Anyway, so I'm doing some relationships and crushes dirty. There's more for sure. Mostly crushes that I don't really remember because, one, they're not going to be favorable to me because they're going to emphasize that, yeah, I thought they were interested in me, but there's no evidence of that. There's somebody looked at you once and you're like, I'm pretty sure they're interested in me and I'm in love forever. Anyway. And then there's a relationship that was very short-lived and was kind of a rebound after crush number 2. We got back together and broke up again, and I was devastated. And I still have a little bit of a phobia of juggalos and juggalettes because of this. It is entirely unfairly, and I know as a group they are very inclusive and nice people. I don't know about the music though. Like, it still kind of creeps me out. But you guys do you. Um, anyway, and then I dated my spouse's best friend. Um, that one makes me look really bad. We were dating about a week, and she had asked me if I would rather be with my 5th crush, one that I eventually got the stress from, and who I had not dated at that point, if I liked them more. And I did not respond for probably about 10 seconds. I may have confirmed that I would, and I started crying. She took that as me breaking up with her, which is fair. And yeah, I really liked her. I would have liked to get to know her better, but I just obviously had a kind of connection with crush number 5, and yeah, maybe don't. I don't know. I mean, don't lie to your girlfriend, but you should be able to answer that question faster. But at the same time, I didn't know a whole lot of things about me, and that was part of the problem there. And yeah, anyway. So we're going to strike all this from the record because I don't self-incriminate and they make me look bad. So skipping all of that. My 6th crush was in my art class junior year, and she made me cocoa. She told me she was interested in me, and she asked me out. And I thought it was a little weird, I think, at the time that she didn't match my type at all, and I was super into her. But I didn't really, think too much about it. So, I didn't see any pattern in any case that what was going on was as soon as someone showed interest in me, or a connection, I was crushing. Um, so my seventh crush became my best friend at my new school, senior year. My parents decided to move schools right before senior year, which I was fine with. Um, which is weird because I was socially awkward. I wasn't going to know anybody, but I think kind of knowing that I wasn't going to know anybody, I had less pressure to do anything, if that makes sense. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me, but it was awkward and I still was okay with it. Anyway, kind of my saving grace there was that I had theater class and I very early on had to do a monologue, and then some skits with other people, and that's how I met my best friend there. So somewhere between me doing said embarrassing monologues and me telling her that I loved her snort, she saved my introverted ass from being alone at lunch. Um, Time's a little washy here because this didn't happen till later, but I do very vividly, which again, weird for me, remember her asking me who my celebrity crush was. And I'm like, I don't really know who actors are. I don't have a celebrity crush. She's like, really? Not at all? I'm like, I mean, they're not really people who are my type. In like movies and music and stuff. And she's like, that seems weird. So eventually, like, and I really, really thought about this. Eventually, I'm like, well, like, Amanda Bynes? And I'm not sure if I was thinking Sydney White or Headspray. Hairspray for that one. Um, it was not She's the Man, though that would honestly have made a lot of sense. But anyway. And then Tracy from Hairspray, which I had no idea what her name was. Sorry, Nikki. I don't know actors. I had to look it up right before I did this. Um, and then she, asked me if I had any male crushes. And this took me about the same amount of time. I did list Jack Black, I think, fairly quickly. um, and then I was thinking about it, and I eventually said Brandon Fraser. I was not thinking of Brandon Fraser. I was thinking of the guy from Stardust, which is Charlie Cox, who apparently is Daredevil. Again, I had to look this up. I had no idea what his name was. I just knew that she's like, that's not who Brandon Fraser is. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I also said John Goodman, because I guess I knew he was bigger. I honestly was not thinking of John Goodman either. I was thinking of Travolta from Hairspray. Anyway, um, it's almost like I had a interest in cross dressing. Anyway, skip through any college and work crushes. Mostly because at that point I was pretty set on focusing on crush number 4, who I put a ring on it. Um, but of note, during college, I married crush number 4, and if I felt that strongly about her, I could not possibly be in love with her and still crushing on 7 or any of the other 6. 5, any of the other 5. Anyway, I was still crushing on all 7, honestly. I knew some were not a good relationship choice for me, but I was still crushing on all of them. And I thought, that wasn't one possible, that, if I really loved my wife, that I could still have those feelings. If I did, that would make me the worst kind of pervert. Um, so, with me being very toxic and not understanding my feelings, I stopped talking to Crush 7. And in the process, I almost ruined my relationship with my spouse. Now playing Shutting Off a Garden Hose with Your Thumb by the Narcissist Cookbook. So, move on a whole bunch of years, and me and my wife are very different people than we used to be. I hit a breaking point in May about 4 years ago, and I decided I could not keep trying to fit in as either a guy or a girl, because I definitely very early on kind of realized that I did not fit in as a boy, and I in general valued the traits that I see to represent femininity more than masculinity. So, I tried to go the other way. And guess what? I had trouble fitting in there too. Um, so I think I continue to struggle with trying to fit in because I was always thinking about it all of the time. All of the time. All of the time. I'm still thinking about it way too much. But anyway, as part of that, I'm decided like I can't do this. I'm neither of these things. I'm non-binary, or I'm gonna drive myself absolutely insane. So I have one very of my few journal entries. It is very cringe. I don't know a better way to describe it other than very cringe, but here we are. Dear Journal, trying to get better and takes work to keep me accountable, so starting journal. I did not continue doing the journal. Went to a concert with my spouse and their best friend, the one that I told that I preferred Crush 5 over. I'm so sorry. You're great. I love you. I'm sorry. It's complicated. Uh, I kept messing with my teeth, so thought about how I haven't been brushing or taking care of myself in general. I downloaded an app to make me more motivated. Setting and marking off little goals and seeing imaginary values go up makes me happy. I think the app was Life RPG, and it did help for a little bit. And then I stopped opening it. Mom's still in behavioral health ward. And need to call her tomorrow. Spouse's health is not great and in very frequent pain. Afraid going to lose her sooner, and I hate it. Hate seeing her in pain when I can't help it. I've come to the decision that I'm non-binary. I think it's just easier on me to not worry about trying to reconcile my feminine versus masculine traits, hoping this will prevent some of the gender dysphoria feelings. Gender in general is a lot of unneeded tropes, so I'm cool to drop all that. Not mentioned to spouse, which silly, but she got serious concerns. I should change it on Facebook. I finally did change it on Facebook like a month ago. I don't get on Facebook for anything other than chatting with my family. So, like, it felt weird. And I didn't change my orientation, which I probably should have, but at the same time, like, I'm married and we're open in a very specific way. It feels like if I'm like going on there and be like, I'm into this, that it's like me looking, which is not the case. I don't know. Anyway, I'm definitely not looking on Facebook. So okay. So I should change it on Facebook just to see her grandmother's reaction. Reminds me of the Bully song and identifying as a wolf and how ridiculous it is. So this song is Bullies by Trevor Moore. I will have a link. I don't know if I recommend it. I'm hoping that the part that I think is ridiculous here is the kind of premise that bullies are important, and that, I mean, it's very positive affirmation if you're a bully. um, and it does say that you should maybe give people swirlies if they think that they are wolves. And I don't know. Um, I wonder what the terminology is for NB that only likes women. I'm a little afraid that I'm feeding it and it's going to cause conflict because it's been focusing on very feminine stuff privately and publicly. All the stuff, good night. um, so I do tell my spouse about 3 months later. Um, and she blamed herself. She thinks me needing that change, like how stressed out I've been about gender, is her fault. Um, and I think she thinks a lot of that is because, kind of as we've been dating, she's kind of moved further and further away from being interested in sex to being asexual. And she kind of blamed that on what's going on. Anyway, she was wrong. That's not it. And I think that's something that she struggles with in general. Because of stuff that she has going on, it's very easy to blame herself for everything. And we're working on it. And again, obviously, wasn't the case. I had been thinking about these things very early on. See trans erotica when I'm talking to Crush 5. But, again, she has a lot of practice blaming herself. But we kind of get to know each other again, and kind of, I don't know. I think our relationship develops in a healthy way because of, how open we're both being about how we've changed and what that means for us and everything. I never get over the linguistics of me being non-binary, and obviously if I'm non-binary I can't be straight, because if I'm straight, that means that I just like people who are binary. And I mean, I like my wife and she's binary, but like, that's weird. uh which is dumb. That's not exactly how it works, but and to this point I had never been interested in a dude that was real. If I was reading erotica, I didn't care who the person was. But I think especially early on, I anytime I was reading erotica and it was like a guy and someone who was non-binary, or a guy and someone who was wanting to transition, or yeah, again, a guy and a guy, it doesn't matter. Like, in those cases I'm like, this is not how guys act. This, I mean, if guys acted like this, yeah, I could be into them. Um, anyway, um, so I, kind of think about that linguistic thing. Okay, heterosexual means other sexual. That doesn't make any sense if I'm non-binary. So I'm anyway. So eventually, I'm like, well, I'm pan, because if my wife decided tomorrow that, like me, she was non-binary, I would still be into that. So I kind of fit that on. Then I don't have to worry about it, kind of thing. Um, and I think at that point I had also been, becoming part of the LGBTQ plus community, and I was reading a lot of things from people who were demi or agender, and it sounded a lot like how my wife talked about gender. And I'm not saying that she is an egg or that she needs to be cracked, because that's not the case. At that time, did I think that? Probably. So she is definitely cis. Um, do, 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 do. Unless she changes her mind later, but that's neither here nor there. Um, so during this period of time, I find the Narcissist Cookbook, Gendering Teddy, is amazing, and I don't honestly think it was my first foray into. No, it probably was. It probably was. My wife actually had bought tickets for Bug Hunter, and that's the first time I heard about Narcissist Cookbook because they were playing with Bug Hunter, and then I heard Ginger and Teddy, and anyway, this became my first celebrity crush, like very first celebrity crush, like Rebel Wilson, funny Australian, um, what I described as my type, um, or well was, um, and but it wasn't ever really that, like I wouldn't even describe it as a crush. I'm like, yeah, I like her type. I like her jokes. I think she's still fine. I don't know. I know there's a lot of stuff going on. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I haven't kept up with it. Um, Yay, controversy. I think she's fine, but I don't know. Anyway, but I do have a real celebrity crush with the Narcissist Cookbook. Um, and I think a lot of this was because they put so much out there. They have their podcast, they have their Instagram account, they have their music, and everything is very poignant. And I'm like, I know this person because this person is a different, like, lens of me, and anyway. um so, and also, just saying, like, look at this, like, this right here. I'm gonna put this post from their Instagram up. I'm just saying, they don't like their face. Like, I think they're more comfortable with it now, but like, I know that they've had trouble posting things of themselves because they're very uncomfortable with themselves. um which, again, I understand. But I don't understand, because I'm looking at this, I'm like, I'm just saying, fine, like, damn, fine. Anyway, um so, again, yeah, I understand how they feel that way because we have a lot of the same brain processes going on. And but anyway, I find, among other things, the song "Stopping a Garden Hose" with your thumb, and I think, like, really listening to it and thinking about it is the first time I really kind of put two to two together to get four, and been like, I don't think I feel love in the way that it's been described to me as I should feel it. I don't think it's ever came naturally to me to feel like I should just be in love with this one person, even though I love this one person more than I can possibly describe. So there's that. And then I think I also realized that, like, how, while I've been married and monogamous, I've never been emotionally monogamous ever. And that I've forced myself to be monogamous in all the other ways, and it's been to the detriment of everyone involved. So eventually, my wife and I have a very serious talk about our needs. And we open our relationship up in a very specific way. And I put myself out there. And I get my first guy crush. um, like, this guy who I know better than to really develop feelings for, because I do so quickly. And like, so many red flags. So many red flags. Anyway. But they show an interest in me. And they're sweet, and you know, they build a connection. Is the connection built on very false pretenses and so many red flags, and I should know so much better? Yes. Did that stop me from being super excited, flushed, and open to finding love despite that? Anyway, so I had my very first guy crush, and all it took was one, thinking that I could be of interest, and two, interest expressed, and I was done. I think I was probably done before, they sent me a picture of what they looked like. And I don't know. So at this point, I'm like, oh, I really, really am Pam. And I never had felt that with a guy before, and I think a lot of it was that, I didn't think a guy could be interested in me more than anything, and then without the interest, then I wasn't interested. I don't know. I definitely was never, like, growing up and felt like I was having to hide myself in the closet because, I felt this way, but, like, I knew people would give me crap for it. Because I mean, I knew that was happening, but I never felt like that was something that I was into. It was just like, yeah, I mean, these guys and the erotica are fine, and I'd be into that, but that's not what actually happens. That's, fake romance stuff that, not real. Anyway. So, kind of going back to stopping at garden hose with your thumb. Once you pop, you can't stop. So at this point, a lot of which was because I came out as non-binary, I was able to understand that not only was I non-binary, I was poly, and not only was I poly, that I was pan. After thinking that that I was straight and that I was monogamous for 30 plus years. I can't say I ever thought that I was cisgendered for that long. But I don't think I ever really figured out where I fit. And I mean, still now, like, I don't want to put it in a box that is smaller than non-binary, because there's a lot, and there's definitely some I fit in. Gender fluid is there, among others, but nothing ever feels right. And if I put myself in that box, then I try to fit in that box so tightly, and I'm going to damage the package kind of thing. So anyway, so that's my experience, and it's kind of how, you could be very queer and not really know it. And yeah, my wife, who is cis and is straight, is experiencing that. To quote Ola in Sex Education, gender's a construct. If you date me, you're dating a non-binary person, and that makes you queer. she might be struggling a little bit with that, because even though she's ace, she's not aromantic, and this is not what she expected when she had me tucked up and at the wedding. Even though, like, again, she was part of the group chat, like, she knew. She just didn't know because I didn't know. Anyway, is that helpful? Like, does talking about that do anything for you? Like, I don't know. I'd like to know your experience. What, regardless of what that is. I would like to, understand and get to know you and figure things out together. Nonetheless.